Hello, everyone. Today I'll be discussing the keyword healthcare. And healthcare is defined as the distribution of medicine and treatment to individuals in order to maintain and promote their well-being. I would also like to cite the first tenet of the Hippocratic Oath, which is first do no harm. This oath is taken by doctors before they are allowed to practice. My main reasoning in talking about these definitions is to highlight the unfortunate contrast between what healthcare should be and what healthcare has actually been linked to in the past and the present. My first artifact is the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It is the true story about the African-American woman, Henrietta Lacks. In 1951, she had her cancer cells harvested without her consent when she went to the hospital to get treated for her cervical cancer. Due to the fact that researchers found her cells could divide indefinitely and were immortal, hundreds of corporations profited off of her cells, and her cells, termed HeLa cells named after her, are still one of the most commonly used cell lines today. Unfortunately, her family has still received no compensation. The book focuses a lot on the lack of informed consent and how that can lead to the unethical treatment of patients, especially African Americans. The biggest example of this is the Tuskegee syphilis study, which happened from 1932 to 1972. In the study, the CDC enrolled 400 Black men with syphilis in this study without their knowledge. Even when the cure for syphilis came out, these Black men were not able to receive it. They were not told that there was a cure, and as a result, 100 of them died. Another example of this is the development of modern gynecology. And the father of modern gynecology developed these techniques by experimenting on African-American women. He conducted surgeries without anesthesia multiple times over on many African-American women. And due to examples such as this, there's the distrust in doctors and the healthcare system is very prevalent in the Black community still to this day. My next two artifacts are linked in that they both discuss the AIDS epidemic and the associated stigma in the 1980s. The play Angels in America by Tony Kushner, in the simplest terms, surrounds a gay man and how he copes with AIDS, although it talks about many other issues and has many other characters. It highlights the stigma surrounding homosexuality and its perceived association with HIV and AIDS. Because of the very visible lesions on the skin due to the disease, many gay men and other people were hesitant in seeking treatment due to the risk of being outed. The film Dallas Buyers Club also focuses on AIDS, but it focuses on a homophobic straight man who contracts HIV and AIDS. And this ties to breaking down the assumption that HIV can only be contracted by gay men. The main character, who is based off of a real person, attempts to gain access and distribute an experimental drug that's effective but not FDA approved. And the reason why people like the main character and other people with HIV and AIDS had to resort to such measures is because of the inadequate funding of AIDS research. And this is mainly due to the lack of government acknowledgement, specifically by Reagan, of AIDS as a disease. My next artifact is the film Gattaca. And Gattaca was extremely ahead of its time. It talks about a man without any genetic modifications born in a world with genetically perfect people, and the discrimination he faces prevents him from pursuing his dreams of going into space. The film prompts discussion of the ethics surrounding genetic engineering, which is extremely relevant today because much of the genetic modifications are very possible. And it also reflects the unequal access to insurance by many people today due to financial reasons and pre-existing health conditions. Finally, I have the obligatory coronavirus artifact. And this is a political cartoon made in March 2020. And it's extremely ironic in the fact that the author and many other people in America at the time hoped that coronavirus COVID being a healthcare issue would bring America closer together and the political parties closer together. But ironically, COVID-19 has become the biggest political issue, and it reflects the larger flaw in America, in which healthcare is riddled with interference, with political interference on many issues that should be purely health issues and shouldn't be a political issue. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you guys for listening.